Good evening. Hope y'all had a good weekend. Welcome back to the Lost Forgotten 11Z's live broadcast, which is like 12Z's right now for me. Because I realized I had to rearrange all this shit after I got back in here. And I figured out a way to do that. Look at that, how clean that looks. That was way more trouble than it even looks like it is. And if you're not familiar with the broadcast, let's see. Before I had something like this going down here, so I could kind of block off the chat down there, and it was all like a big black gap like that. Now, so probably more trouble than it was worth, but you know, I'm proud of myself because it's been a long fucking week, month. I don't a long time. It's been a long, however fucking long it's been. It's been fucking long. Anybody even know anymore? Like I mean, the question "How are you?" has become fucking complicated for me. How am I? Fuck you. Just, I can't, don't even ask me that. How am I? I don't know. We got an asshole in the White House. You know, aside from my wife losing her job right after my mom dies. We got an asshole in the White House that's going to say that his ratings were as high as when the World Trade Center came down.
No, Sean Hannity's ratings haven't been as high as they were since the World Trade Center fell.
No, that was for the what's it called?
Oh, I thought he was talking about Sean Hannity's show.
No, he was talking to Sean Hannity, talking about his Face the Nation ratings.
Oh.
Saying that his Face the Nation ratings were the highest since Sean Hannity came out. I found some sticky pads. How about that shit? Extra sticky. Mostly coffee stains. Big shocker, I know. So Neville's excited because he's got the first chat of the night. And probably something to do with how late I was. And look what I did, dear. I figured out how to make the thing right there. I'm not going to tell anyone, but it's actually that right there. I just revealed my secret to her of the fancy JPEGs of science.
Hidden tops.
So yeah. On top of all the other shit, I had to go and review it on Hardball 3 days ago. I had missed, I had like remembered I had missed it in the back of my mind. This one Hardball upload that got up that was on the MSNBC's channel. Sure enough, went back and watched it. 100 Days of Hyperbole is what he called it.
Could the fuckery have influenced the job loss? I really don't want to voice what I'm thinking right now, just because I have sunk to a low place that I haven't been to in a while. And
we're not going to go into that bullshit on the channel.
I don't want to say something that I might regret that might get out, and I'm, like I said, not in the best place right now. So.
If you're gonna not say something you're not gonna regret, don't say you're not gonna say something you're not gonna regret. Just no comment. Fuck, that's enough. Okay. Anyways. Love you. No. Just no comments, no comment. Yeah. Fun shit. Needless to say.
Hey, Maximo.
What's going on, Maximo? But yeah, it's getting a little bit rough. Again. At least we're not overwhelmingly past due on everything yet. Just not enough time has passed. Hopefully we'll be able to complete some things and follow up on a few leads.
What's the idea?
Maybe complete some things. Complete a certain thing that we've been trying to work on for a long time.
Yeah.
Something that looks like, wait, what does it look like? I think we have a graphic for that. We have a graphic for that somewhere. Somewhere there is, in fact, a graphic for this random interjection of science. Holy crap. What graphics have hidden from me? Like, okay. I know it's a 32-inch screen, but how does a folder just get lost like this? I don't know, it's like moving shit all over the fucking place.
Oh, it was over there last time I saw it.
Right, it's supposed to be right there. There it is. Okay, the graphic. Well, I forgot what the fuck graphic I was looking for now. There we go. The graphic. For that. Right there. There it is. Because why? Because I love my wife. And this is way too confusing. Laboratory of Science. Delete. $25,000 lot. Plan. Here. Visualize. Wait, let me scoot this over so y'all can see her visualizing. I'm trying to motivate. I'm trying to get motivated my damn self, but I'm trying to motivate her too. Because, you know, believe it or not, I tend to ramble and get a bit jargony.
Hate a blanket.
So yeah, I need her help typing up the final draft. I've done 2 drafts of everything so far. Now we need to kind of separate the wheat from the chaff, as it were, and slim things down.
Less is more.
Yeah. And then once she has everything in an organized format, I'm going to hammer away at the product line and projections and see if we can come up with some numbers for would-be investors to crunch in a nice streamlined, maybe 5 to 7 page format. You know, plus like an added 12-page white paper. But 20-page white paper. Yeah. So there's a couple of pieces of land that are suitable for different levels of the business. But that's the smallest piece. It'll work. It'll work. So that's what we're going to freaking shoot for. And I can't get it out of my head. Because look how freaking adorable. Anyway. Alright, so. I don't know if you were on yet, Maximo. But a certain someone said a certain thing that, you know, it kind of has me no longer wishing like someone else would do something. It just kind of makes me wish I could do it with my own hands. But, you know, just hypothetically in a purely fantasy scenario. Just like, I don't think I've ever been so pissed off at one person before. Oh, yeah, I'm being careful.
There's a guy in New Orleans that got arrested for threatening Mitch Landry.
Okay, now you're saying the word.
No, I'm
and putting context to anything while I'm doing a comedic bit. Get it once again. You're not going to comment? No comment. So for making an actual thread?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My wife's a bit distracted. Who can fucking blame her? A bit distracted my damn self. Who can blame me? Spent the morning whooping the shit out of tornadoes. Who can blame them? Well, apparently me. I didn't have time for that. Woke up. Trying to stay awake on the couch. Hearing some shit coming. Woke up at the butt crack of dawn. Put the news on. Saw 2 tornado warnings. One right to the south of us. One coming right for us. And somebody was already waiting. Not waiting. Somebody was already trying to find my wand for me. Give you an idea how things typically go around here. So I went out on the porch and, acted like a weirdo for a while. Came back inside saying, there wound up being 4 of them. But the weather gone, wound up being 4 of them. 4 tornado warnings. I don't know. I didn't see any news after that to see if any of them hit the ground. But
not here.
If you can check the weather for the Baton Rouge area this morning, you'll
Livonia
see
got hit with
what happened.
Too.
Yeah.
That's across the river, I think.
Huh. But yeah. Of course, that'd be a very silly thing for me to claim to have done if I hadn't done it previously on video. Thanks. Anyways. So what's that quote from Bleach earlier? If you told me you were a snake. Wait a minute. If tomorrow you became a snake and you began devouring humans,
and then the same now, if you tell me you love me, could I tell you I love you back the same way I do today?
Yeah. You left out the mad pauses.
Sorry. I'm all dramatized out.
Yeah, she's drawing it out. She needs some Dramamine from all the drama. Causing motion sickness.
It's like I feel like I tripped and fell into some felines. I'm just gonna brush that shit off, but it won't come off.
Need a Krillipad.
What about that? Maybe that Krilla on the front you might use?
It's like a Brilipad, but made of Krilla. Krilla said Brilla.
Krilla. Boy, that word just holds a special, special fucking place in my heart.
Oh, I can't stop laughing for reasons that viewers cannot understand, and that's horrible. You better explain it. I can't.
Okay. So this was back into early 2004. I got a job working at the Major Video in New Orleans on South Carrollton. So there was a guy that came in one night, and this is right after Jeepers Creepers 2 had come out. It was, like I said, springtime-ish of 2004, end of winter, beginning of spring. So this old dude comes up in there. It's like 10, 20 minutes to close. He just comes walking. Now, y'all know, we got accent down here. Everybody got an accent. This dude...
Some are richer than others.
Some are much, much richer than others. So this dude comes walking in, comes up to the counter. My polite voice, can I help you? Y'all got that move, that curl on front doing like this? I said, excuse me? You know, the move, that curl, he on the front doing like this. The Krilla? Yeah, he doing like this on front.
Krilla.
He was talking about Jeepers Creepers too, because on the front of the movie poster, the scarecrow-looking Jeepers Creepers guy is like this on a post. So the Krilla was doing like this. So now anytime somebody says Krilla, that's instantly where my mind goes. Doing like this. Oh, I needed that laugh. That was good.
Krilla.
Krilla. Y'all got that Krilla on the front. He doing like this.
Donald Trump, the arch Krilla. I'd like to see him doing like this. With some 9-inch out. Never mind.
Tiger Lily. What you doing?
Or you can do it upside down like Peter.
Tiger Lily, you'll be a Krilla? And she said, fuck you, and walked away.
Man who insults POWs. Who says because he's a celebrity, he sexually assault women.
I wish a motherfucker.
Can you even list the heinous, embarrassing, deplorable things about Donald Trump's character, about his behavior?
Everything.
Oh my God.
It'd be easier to list the shit that's not deplorable. Number 1. I'm done.
Right? Wait. Comment now if you can think of a single, non-rhetorical, redeeming quality of fuckity fucknut. I don't even want to fucking say his fucking name anymore.
I don't know, the only
fucking
thing
waste of skin douchebag shit nut.
To way reach out on a limb, I can name one.
Nut. He's a seed of a shit tree. That's what he's a shit nut.
I can name one going way the fuck out on a fucking tree nut limb.
A shit nut tree limb.
Shit nut tree limb. If nothing else, there are times when his stupidity is so absurd that it is nothing but entertaining.
No.
Until you remember.
It would have been entertaining if he didn't win.
Well, he didn't win.
Yeah, well, if he didn't fucking...
No, it's entertaining until you remember.
All these morons didn't fucking bow to this fucking delusion.
They started talking about him, Tiger Lily started licking her ass.
Now I wonder, like, a shit nut, okay? What would the airspeed velocity of a swallow be if it was carrying a shit nut?
Is it an African swallow?
Yeah, I guess it would depend on whether it was an African or European swallow. That's true.
What is your name?
Trump Krilla.
What is your quest? To destroy the United States.
Oh, man. Like, here's my dream. Here's my dream, okay? Like, I never I would never actually want to see someone, even if they're falsely called the United States president, have any actual, you know, misfortunes befall them. That's just further embarrassment to our country. Okay, I want to see him arrested for treason, and I want to be his public. I want to be given the personal honor of doing so. I think I fucking earned it. You know, perfectly legal in a televised live format. Kind of like, full circle for what happened. Anyway. Everybody's got to have a dream. And mine, well, I have to make myself laugh with them. I try to make you laugh as well. Leave it to a random mood of my wife to take me too seriously. like, where's one of them things with the two pieces of wood and the whole, like the gallows thing, like where people just like throw fruit at you for like weeks at a time. That still wouldn't be enough, would it? Just wouldn't be enough. I mean, they say investigations should follow the facts to where they lead. Well, the facts have been out there for a very long time. So, the question I ask is, if what he's done doesn't count as treason, if what he's done doesn't count as collusion with a foreign government to overthrow the United States and to completely, uproot our foreign policy, if that doesn't count as treason, what does? Like, what could one possibly do that would be worse than, turning America into not just a satellite state, but basically putting it on record once and for all that America is a country that allows itself to be ran by a model of corrupt misogyny. This is an embarrassment that generations will not outlive if we don't arrest those who are guilty of crimes, severe crimes against the country, against our way of life, against the people of the world, let alone America itself. Against your daughters, against your sisters, against your mothers. Moral crimes of indignation and bad examples set from the highest office can't be outlived. I mean, that's affecting our children right now. And just them going this whole school year, finishing this school year without that man in handcuffs is going to permanently damage all of our children's minds. Do you understand? Do people understand that? Like, do you see that? Like, Does that take explaining? Like, what the fuck?
I don't know, but I think our movie came in at a good time.
And she was in there watching Idiocracy again while I got this video ready. And it's just like, oh my god,
Oh, for fuck's sake.
that's where we're going. If more people don't realize that this is the responsible thing to be doing right now,
So,
Idiocracy is all we're going to be left with.
speaking
Brought
of
to you by Carl's Jr.
dipshit, he appointed a new Assistant Secretary of Public Affairs at the Department of Health and Human Services. She is an anti-abortion activist who believes that abortions cause breast cancer.
What?
Oh yeah, you heard me.
Not mastectomies. Abortions. Right? Not like removal of
In a 2012
gland.
interview with New York Times Magazine, Yost was adamant in her belief that abortion causes breast cancer, despite evidence from the National Cancer Institute, the American Cancer Society, and the American Congress of Obstetricians and Gynecologists refuting those claims.
So it's Tim the Tool Woman gynecologist, basically.
Apparently. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Personally, anti-abortion.
Right.
Personally.
Person.
Doesn't mean I'm gonna push my views on everybody else. That's between you and the maker, not don't got shit to do with me. Not gonna tell you what to do with your body. Some things some women can't emotionally handle. Whatever, to each their own.
Unless it's past the second trimester and that child could survive out of the womb on its
Yeah.
own. You know, like, there needs to be a limit.
And I know that makes me sound wishy-washy, but that's just how I feel. For me, it's never something that I would ever be able to do, personally. I personally believe that there are other ways to go about things happening, but that's my personal beliefs, and I'm not going to push that on anybody.
I think the Clinton era compromise of the first trimester was actually the most valid limit to have it on. I think it was 20 weeks or something like that.
But to sit there and push some bullshit like abortions cause breast cancer.
Right.
No, there are a lot of things that cause breast cancer, starting with genetics. It's a disposition. If your mother had breast cancer and your grandmother had breast cancer and her mother before her, chances are you're going to have fucking breast cancer. That plays a part in it. There are other things that you consume and do on a daily basis that also contribute to it.
Yeah, and there are some things that you can have taken out of you that, you know, your endocrine system, you know, getting out of whack can cause cancer to develop based on those genetic tendencies and things like that, and environmental factors, ingestive factors. If you have your ovaries and your uterus removed,
Or
not
damaged by fire.
not
Sorry.
you know, something that is basically designed to be removed at some point. And in fact, when it comes down to it, abortion is something that occurs naturally. I don't know if you realize this, but there are these things called miscarriages. And that's a horrible thing to be talking about, but, you know, it's how you don't know that it causes cancer. That's all I'm saying about it. That's all I'm saying about it right there. Okay? It's something that already happens for other reasons.
I just also feel, for the most part, and please don't take offense to this.
I don't know why I'm putting my hand up there like I'm like delivering a cow. Push, Bessie. Okay.
Don't take offense to this, and y'all don't take offense to this, our gentlemen viewers. I think abortion is one of those things that men should, for the most part, keep their opinion to themselves about.
Yeah.
It doesn't. You guys don't have to go through any of the things that women have to endure that comes along with getting pregnant. So.
Oh yeah, well you saw the little the group of men basically deciding on the fucking healthcare shit. Just a bunch of white men.
The old white men, yeah.
The Council of Old White Men.
Gonna tell me what the fuck I'm gonna do with my vagina?
Right.
Fuck you. Do whatever the fuck I want with my pussy.
I wonder how many of them at least remember being incarnated as a female.
None.
I'm leaning towards a very
none, because they wouldn't be acting like such fucking jackasses like they are if they.
A negligible estimate. Mysis.
Not for that thing. But anyway, yeah. So.
I'm starting to wonder if we should just put copepods in there instead of the mysis.
Yeah, we are turning into idiocracy. You just look at these fucking idiots that are being appointed in the White House. I mean, fucking abortion causes breast cancer? No, the fuck it doesn't. Because, never mind. I'm gonna keep that comment to myself. Sorry to go off on
I'm
that.
so proud of myself for getting a blue bar to show up with a little black gap. And
an Iranian TV executive was shot dead in Istanbul.
Speaking of black gaps, he's got one in his forehead now. Wait, what?
Apparently, Iran had sued him in 2007. Dude's name was Saeed Karamian, founder of the Farsi language network, Gem TV. Reportedly shot dead along with his Kuwaiti business partner yesterday morning. That's when it was reported. That guy.
Okay.
So there's a headline.
So anyways. If tomorrow you became a snake and you began devouring humans, and you told me that you loved me with that same mouth, could I still tell you I loved you too? That's close, huh? Not quite. Donald Trump wrote a little poem about a snake. And well, interesting fellow that.
That was it.
You know, the game poem or the Trump poem?
The game poem.
If you were to turn into a snake tomorrow and began devouring humans, and from the same mouth you devoured humans, you cried out to me, I love you, would you still be able to say,
Would I?
I love you? Would I still be able to say, I love you the same way I do today? Would you, Trump voters? If it turned out Trump was everything that the Democrats told you he was, but he's still said he loved you. Would you still say you loved him too? Trump told a little story that was told by that old Native American man on Natural Born Killers, wasn't it? When Mickey and Mallory get bitten by the snakes. He tells a story about how the snake's frozen. The lady takes him, puts him by the fire, thaws him out.
It was the lyrics of Al Wilson's 1968 song "The Snake," in which a woman takes an ill snake into her home only for it to bite her once it has recovered.
Yeah.
He also paused to point out to his audience that it was a metaphor for the border.
Yeah. He was talking about the border and vetting. Now, while the media ran with it as saying he was referring to Mexicans as snakes, it seemed more to me like he was implying Mexicans and salamis.
He read this whole thing
as snakes. Yeah, he read the whole poem.
That's a long poem. Keep scrolling past the little advertisement. Where are we at? Starts right on this paragraph.
That right there.
That's where it starts. Keep going.
Find me an album cover.
Find your what?
Album cover. You know how we roll in the YouTube conspiracy world. Let's look for the Illuminati symbols. Rather KGB symbols in our case. Oh, all right. So.
It's like a negative of a picture of a cobra.
Yeah, it's drawn. Nothing special. I wish I could remember the Cobra Kai slogan. What? No mercy. So it's funny how, you knew Trump was a con artist. You knew he was colluding with Russia. You knew he was a rich elite. All the while you were listening to him accuse people you had prejudice against because, upstanding characters like Bill O'Reilly told you. You knew he was a fucking snake in the grass. You knew he was a wolf in sheep's clothing. But you dragged him into that White House. And you let him warm up by our fire. Don't be surprised. Don't be shocked Don't be in denial. Take a little responsibility. And join with reason when he turns around and bites you. Not a whole lot of people left who he hasn't bitten. Not going to make anybody lose coverage. Not going to deport people who are, not doing anything wrong. Going to bring back them coal jobs.
We're not paying for the wall. Mexico is.
Yeah. And now on the same day that he makes this ironic taunt that we should have known that he was a snake. That's what he really meant by it. Knowing the obvious implications, knowing that people would say that he was being, promoting heartlessness, basically. But there was a doublespeak. There was another underlying tone there. And you'd have to be an idiot not to realize it. He's the snake. And the reason why he has no respect for us, the reason why he lies with pleasure to especially his supporters, look, bitch, should have known I was a snake. So now we've got, in a zone where it was too skittish to enforce a no-fly zone, we've sent Marines to protect the YPG or the PPG. The Iraqi and Syrian Peshmerga versus the Turkey and Syrian Peshmerga Kurds, okay? Because there's, this provincial sort of government trying to establish itself as a Kurdistan type region in northern Iraq and overlapping in Syria. And we've been trying to help them for several years now. And we've now sent a Marine Striker Brigade to patrol along the border, apparently to prevent Turkey from bombing Kurds. And Erdogan wasn't too happy about that. Basically made a statement saying that we should come to our senses and not protect terrorists. Meanwhile, back in Japan, in addition to the new permission, like basically the rollback of the 50-year constitutional law that said that they can't go to war to protect an ally. They can only go to war to defend themselves directly. About a year and a half ago, they did away with that. They had a constitutional referendum, basically changed the constitution to allow them to go to war to support their ally, namely us, the United States, and namely against, either North Korea or possibly Japan at the time. I mean, China at the time. Or so it was So it was being played out to seem so by the Obama administration so that Russia would think that its hand was stronger than it was. But that's a long story discussed in previous videos. But anyway, what happened today is an order was given to protect American vessels. Standing order for the Japanese fleet to protect American vessels from attack. And a Japanese carrier, which was recently re-outfitted with American F-35s, was deployed to escort a supply ship to an unannounced location. Well, unannounced as of the news story that I saw briefly when collecting this information. But I would guess it's probably heading towards South Korea. Would that be your guess too? I'm guessing South Korea. And I'm guessing the Chinese, and especially the North Koreans and the Russians, are rather suspicious about what's on this supply ship, that they would have an aircraft carrier escorting it. But I'm not saying a word, not one single word. Hey, Lacey. Boy, they got to be wondering what's on that boat. All I know is Japan's really good at making things light, especially, mobile things, mechanical things. Light. It helps. It helps with transportation costs. But it doesn't really matter, does it? Doesn't matter. Because nobody is going to commit to the provocation of attacking that ship. See, there's some things that you just can't come up with a good enough bullshit cover story in a quick enough time for. And this would be one of them. Oh, I'm sure they got their little brains working on it. But it's not going to do them any good. Not a far trip, is it? And Ukraine. Just keeps popping off. Another convoy of Russian tanks. More mortar assaults. Just.
Has anybody else but me noticed these sanctions aren't doing a goddamn thing? Just saying. It's been going one way.
We've had this fucking discussion before.
I know.
They didn't take Kiev, did they? If a 50% economic sanctions regime across the board on the economic, financial sectors, energy sectors, export sectors, if going overall and targeting 50% of their fucking economy, which it did, okay, cut the ruble by a half. If that happened when they took that much, they know how bad it's going to hurt if they did anything more than that at that point.
That's like saying, okay.
And at that point, what the fuck else were we going to do?
I'm just saying, that's like the whole South getting invaded and somebody else going, well, at least they didn't make it to Washington, D.C. Fuck the people who live in the South.
Well,
I'm just saying, like, that's really how you...
If Washington, D.C.'s army was on its way through Mexico at the time, you got to do what you got to do. Make the best of what you can. We were not in a position to defend Europe. Period.
What did other Europeans were?
No, they weren't. Germany couldn't have done it. But after all that migration shit, you saw how well that they handled that.
I'm just saying, you're telling me that all the countries involved couldn't pull together just a little bit of their resources and actually done something. After all this time, I'm not saying immediately.
While
I get initially the sanctions.
While 1,500 American tanks and strikers were on trains in Russia. Okay. While the shit that we use to protect Europe is not in Europe, not only not in Europe, but getting deployed or getting called back from Afghanistan on trains through Uzbekistan, through Russia to Germany. And literally, the same time they annexed Crimea, our shit was on trains through Russia. It's kind of like somebody's got your balls in a vice and they've got a gun to your head. You just smash the hand that's holding the vice.
That's probably stupid.
Maybe they can't squeeze the vice quite as hard. Don't go for the one with the gun, because then they're going to blow your fucking brains out. It's the worst analogy I've ever made in my life. But suffice to say, howdy Carlos, they had us by the balls, okay, and that's why we had to do sanctions. What the fuck were we going to do? Go to war with Russia? At that point especially. With the Ted Cruz sequester going on.
Everybody would quit worrying about themselves.
The government shut
together
down.
to help everybody else. It wouldn't fall mainly on the shoulders of one country.
Well, sure.
So fuck was the point of NATO and then the UN and all that.
And that
shit?
was,
if it's not to band together to help out the rest of the world. I mean,
everybody had been sitting comfortable for quite some time, letting it be debated whether or not Russia was still a threat. I mean, only a few years before they tried to make Russia a NATO member.
It just makes them stupid.
Of course. But the fact of the matter is, when it's open for debate, it's about, consensus, and action takes consensus. All right. So none of the NATO countries were contributing nearly as much as they should have been. None of the NATO countries had nearly as much defense capability. That's why, baby, think of how much we've been seeing them build up over the past few years. Are they even now at a level where they have any business attacking Russia? So what the fuck did you expect them to do back then? That's all I'm saying. there's a point where standing up for your principles can be fucking stupid. And like I said, we got the ruble to drop by half. And we got them to at least keep it to a deceptive level. And keeping it to a deceptive level, you know, keeps the casualties into the hundreds and thousands instead of the fucking millions. At least for now. But where everything's going, we got the Marines positioned against Turkey. Turkey's pissed at the EU. Turkey's pissed at us.
Which brings me full circle to my point. If everybody would band together to help each other instead of worrying about, oh, as soon as somebody needs help, oh, well, I've got my own problem, so fuck you.
Oh, I know. I agree with the sentiment, but I mean,
otherwise we have business partners, not allies. There's a difference.
I just, you know, I take exception to anything that coincides with the rhetoric of the enemy. And the rhetoric of the enemy was that Obama was doing something wrong.
I didn't say Obama did anything wrong.
Like
I'm saying the rest of the world. I'm saying the rest of the world should have stepped up.
At that point, hey, they started to. You know, they didn't have the military might to. Russia would have rolled over the whole of fucking Europe at that point.
Resources.
They didn't have, no. And Russia would have pulled resources from 5 times more shit. Because that's how much Russia had.
This world is stupid.
Yeah, Russia makes it that way. And they have for 1,000+ years. Not Russia. The Horde. Yeah, and there's another thing. You had people criticize, like, you have like an entire movement of people criticizing the idea of even being ready to defend yourself as being warmongers. Because, you know, if you dare to defend yourself or to be ready to defend yourself against Russia, you're just provoking Russia. You're just a warmonger. Especially big bad Germany for actually maintaining its NATO commitment, you know. And that's what it would have been. It would have just been Russia versus Germany and France, and we all know how well they get along. At the time, France was selling 2 Mistral warships to Russia. And it took a whole lot of diplomatic uproar and international outcry to stop that from happening, which I think it wound up going third party through the Egyptians anyways. Didn't it?
Something like that. It's also fucking stupid plans.
So anyway, speaking of Russia, yesterday was it? They had the Formula One Grand Prix in Russia, the Russian Grand Prix, and Honda has been having some engine problems, and just power issues in general. They say that there are some things wrong with the chassis. I can tell you exactly what's wrong with the chassis, but I would fix the engine first, because the repair I would do to the engine would add a little bit of weight to it, which might actually fix what's wrong with the chassis. Because what's wrong with the chassis is it's shifting forward under braking. What needs to happen is, okay, 2 things obviously wrong with the engine. And I know why. Okay. Why is because they're trying to make a motor that can translate to Honda street cars. And they're not Ferrari. Okay, so their streetcars are going to wind up in a whole different format. And they're trying to use some parts that are going to translate better over to a streetcar engine. That's beautiful. But what they've also done at the same time is try to go with this really narrow ass end of the chassis, and to get it all bunched up in there, they've made one critical mistake that I can see just from looking at photos. They made the headers, that is the exhaust pipes coming out of the engine, way too small. They need to make those bigger, and I suggest to do so that they pipe them actually forward first and then back, because obviously they can't go in a conventional out then back design because of the narrow ass of the car. But if they went forward first and then back, they might find enough room to pipe them of equal length and get the horsepower back on the exhaust side. Because what's happening is they're suffering severe reliability issues, and having short length between the headers and the turbo is going to make the turbo run hotter, and it's going to reduce the amount of just horsepower you can make, just because of the constrictions that are going on there on the exhaust side as the motor is trying to, pump out its air fuel mixture. And the other very obvious thing I see is the air intake. Let me just. Here. The air intake basically looks like this. Okay. And it's got sort of a tapered neck right here and a scoop out to the front. The bodywork goes over it, and that's that little scoop that you see behind the driver's head. That's the air intake scoop. Okay. The thing about this is, on the back side of it, it's got a little bend right here. Okay. So the air comes in, and there's this flat surface right here. There's a sharp angle right here. Okay. That's creating a harmonic resonance that is robbing power at high RPMs. Okay. There's no getting around that. That has to be robbing power. Like, you got to fix that, or else you're going to be fighting it the whole way. All you need to do to fix that is make this shape in here more streamlined and not have a hard ledge, which basically, as air is coming in here at speed, at 150 miles an hour, that air is really coming into this little box, okay? And when it hits the back of there, it's creating shock waves that resonate all through the machine, okay? Now, at low revs on a street car, this would be great. You can time a motor to work in tandem with the reverberation that winds up happening. Like, basically, if you just picture that as a musical instrument, open at a certain note, okay? And it doesn't matter how fast the air goes through that, it's going to reverberate at that note at at greater amplitudes. But the idea behind resonance tuning is you have an equal length of a vibrating intake and exhaust, and you time that with the motor to where everything harmonically works, so that when the intake valve on the engine opens, that dense wave of air is hitting it. Okay? So it's like, picture just a waveform going through the air. Just picture a bunch of little waves as air. And as each one of them hits the valve train, it opens. Okay? And you want it to exit the same way, harmonically. And then the sound kind of makes the engine go faster. All right? that's great for my Honda outside, okay? And I try to not ruin resto mod Hondas by making a high horsepower highway pull drag racing type car. This is a fucking Formula One engine. What the fuck did they need harmonic resonance for? That thing should be going as wide open as possible. I mean, look at the Ferrari engine. Look at the Mercedes engine. They've got like a dome bell housing. They've got huge exhaust runners going all different which ways so they can make them equal length. Meanwhile, Honda's got, it looks like they took Chevy headers and made them into carbon fiber. But yeah. Anyways. So speaking of, how Honda needs to give me a laptop and a salary and consult me before they do things. Acura, Ryan Eversley, was that him driving or was that Dyer driving when it was catching up today?
I don't know.
Gained 14 spots.
I think it was Eversley because I think that what it was is whoever ended yesterday had to start today. So
Right.
Dyer ended yesterday, so he probably had to start today. And Eversley climbed at the end. It was after pit, but they ended on caution, which is bullshit.
So that was today.
Yeah.
And yesterday, happened to see around the same corner. So I think I got confirmation of what I'm talking about. Okay. He comes around this one hard brake corner, like you're going kind of downhill for the brakes, and then you slide around this pretty wide corner. You maybe going around 50 miles an hour around the whole corner. Okay. And yesterday, I could see as he was getting under brakes, still under brakes in the corner, the front was just hopping around. Okay. So, had my wife comment on a Facebook post that he had made. Asked her to say he needs to increase the rebound resistance and decrease the bound resistance. So basically, keep the front springs and the front sway bars exactly as they were. But the damper, like the hydraulic shock absorber that controls the spring and controls how much it bounces either way, okay, what he needed to do was to make it let in a little easier and resist going out a little more. All right. And I could tell that he did that today because he came around the same exact corner and it was, like I've done that modification in the simulator because I was having that problem, had that same result, gotten the same speed improvement that he seemed to have today, going from 25th to 11th, I believe, or 10th. It was 24th, 10th. He gained 14 spots, finishing in 10th. It feels like 40 freaking cars. There was a lot of cars out there today at a Virginia International Raceway. Great race. Really was. And I think we have a clip from that race earlier. Hey, baby, you want to see the clip from the race? No, you remember the nudge nudge clip from the race? Here we go. Here we go. Oh, it's so wrong, but so undeniably funny. Like, what do you do when that happens? What do you do?
Just keep driving.
Like, do you try to look back to see where it lands?
Pray it doesn't come right back down on you.
Like, he was probably a quarter mile away by the time it did.
That thing flew a
Holy
good 30 feet in the air.
Let's see that again. Let me put it right on here. I'm gonna go ahead and put that on a loop there. There we go. I thought you were looped. Why didn't you loop? It said loop. It was lying. Today's Venice and Andre is brought to you in part by Flubber. What? Oh, too soon? Don't worry, that was like the 70s. I mean, look at that car. Oh. It depends on what level they're. Races for manufacturers championships are always useful for R&D. Honda especially. Like, your manufacturers like Honda, BMW, Mercedes, Lexus, Nissan, what they learn on the racetrack goes into your car, not only to make it perform better and get better gas mileage, but so the parts wear out slower and so they're safer. Because you don't quite get as much data on crashing as you do at the racetrack.
Right.
You get a whole lot of data on about a whole lot of crashes. You can see every which way every part of that car gets mangled under any circumstance.
And how well they fly through the air.
And it's amazing what those guys survive these days.
Right? They just get up and walk out like nothing happened.
It is fucking amazing how far the safety has come. Like, not only just for
they're more pissed off they can't finish the race than anything.
Like like over the years they've increased the safety regulations inside the car as far as the roll cages and everything goes. But over the past 5-10 years, it's gotten to the point where when the car is wrecked, you can see that it's like the body work just crumpling in and protecting the drivers, especially in the touring car races.
Unless you have the fire extinguisher explode over your head.
Oh yeah,
that was weird.
That had to suck. There was a guy in a race. I don't even know which race it was in. The race is about to start. About to go green flag. They're around on the hot lap, the warm-up lap, before the pace car. You know, the pace car's lights are out. It's about to leave the track, and they're going to go green. And his cabin fire extinguisher. He just got white, just streaming down his helmet. His visor's like.
Yeah, because that stuff is like burns your skin.
Yeah, the announcer's sitting there saying that stuff will burn your eyes. So he's not having a good time.
But again, what do you do?
Right.
Just keep driving. Or you don't get blind.
Like it was my itchy back. My itchy back. It was the sporting competition that led to the S2000, the Honda S2000, that started people putting tube frame hardened steel inside of the pillars around your windshield. They did that to make that sports car stronger and, you know, safer. And that has translated into what Honda now calls ACE body structure. And every other manufacturer has taken up and done a different version of it. and started to use reinforcements inside of the unibody structure of cars. So, well, where it used to be just they would laminate metal to metal and that would form like an angle and you know, they build the car like that. Now they'll laminate metal to metal around a harder piece of metal. So if there's an impact, it kind of forms like a composite armor type effect, and it doesn't, you know, it doesn't crumple at the same rate. It'll crumple where the weaker metal is faster, and then when it gets to the stronger metal, it slows it down more and makes, you know, accidents in general more survivable. I think one of the best cars you can buy as far as safety goes is one of the past few years Civics. I mean the metal, the metallurgy that's gone into that car, those cars is fucking amazing. So anyways, another big safety thing that you wouldn't have if it wasn't for racing is ABS and traction control systems that make cars so much safer in the rain right now too.
Of course, it's more relaxing. You're out on the water.
I have to like think for a minute and translate reality into modern times. I'm like, wait, sailing's more expensive?
Right?
You just gotta fucking build a boat. Like, you can't just build a boat these days, can you? It's easier said than done. You know, you don't just find some trees growing near a beach. That's all I'm saying. People might look poorly on that. Like, where'd all the fucking trees go, man? Oh, I wanted to go sailing.
Yeah, right.
So I chopped them down so I could build a boat. You're not supposed to do that. Oh. Well, what am I supposed to do? Go to the Home Depot. They can do it. And we can help.
You can do
Or
it.
you can do it. And
They can help.
That's the power of the Home Depot. Keep people from chopping down forests near beaches.
They're going to do it for you.
Yeah, something like that. I'm tired.
Right. I keep like playing with my braid. I was doing like this, and then I realized it was making me look like Hitler on the video, or like Charlie Chaplin or something.
I tell you what, have we left out any flaggable fucking words?
I said Hitler. I'm sorry.
Why don't we just go on a fucking like a Mel Gibson Kramer rant while we're at it? You know.
See, I knew it wasn't just a northern thing to have a license to be on the water.
Yeah.
See, I tell people that I got a boating license when I was 9, like with my dad. It was like an honorary, like learner's permit type thing. I was the first person in the state of Virginia to ever get it. But like, I tell people that down here, and they're looking at me like I done lost my mind. Like, you need a license to drive a boat since when?
I was thinking the biggest expense, you know, say you could build your own fucking boat. Still got to store that fucker.
A trailer.
Renting at a marina. That's
Or you get
for
like
a decent size or for a decent marina. You know, you're looking at a couple $100 a month.
you drop anchor a little bit away from the marina, and you get one of those blow up rafts. A little blow up dinghy. You just take the dinghy to shore like a pirate ship's back in the day, and you just go back to your, you deflate your dinghy,
your
put it in your.
living.
Like, I'm gonna have a houseboat one day.
Or we could have a commune of floating houses. They link together, you know. Have a big complex of floating houses, like a little neighborhood on the water, all hooked up, little avenues between them.
And somehow, when you said that, the first thing that popped in my mind was a movie I have not seen in over 15 years.
Kevin Costner.
Waterworld. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like all the.
A little less rickety than that.
Right. But like that's what I was thinking when you say commune on the water.
Right.
Like,
Right. Well, that's always reminded me of old times.
right.
There was like, anybody else when you watch Waterworld, just kind of like, damn, there's something familiar about that.
Right.
Hmm.
When you get bored, just pick up anchor and move somewhere else. If it gets too cold, go somewhere warm. It gets too hot, go up north a little bit. It'll cool down. Hurricane coming. Whoops, let me go south.
We could have a floating racetrack so we could still have cars.
Go-kart track.
Go-karts. Oh, even better.
They're lighter.
Have little mini cars.
Little smart cars.
Have little one-seaters that look like
smart cars.
Bugattis and Lamborghinis and shit. Like little Power Wheel looking. Oh no, even better. We could have big wheel races. I haven't ridden a big wheel since I was, like 4 or whatever.
You could fit on one.
But I seen on this guy.
You weren't like the size of a teenager when you were 4.
Oh, my feet would drag a little bit. But I seen this guy on YouTube. He's made a grown-up big wheel. Like, I want one. Like I would totally drive that. I would just be big wheeling all around the yard. I want a little bell on it. Ding. And some streamers. Some red, white, and blue streamers out of the handlebars.
Put a basket on the front too.
No. No, it's a big wheel. It's not a girl's bike. It's America.
What are you trying to say?
What you need is like a little and you gotta have like the little fake plastic motor just mounted right here for no reason. Okay. Bureaucracy, to a certain extent, is useful. It's ulterior motives and corruption that make bureaucracy bigger than it needs to be. When bureaucracy becomes red tape, as opposed to just responsibility.
Speaking of red tape, Baton Rouge is going to be interesting this week, especially in the Mid-City area.
Oh, yeah.
It's this week marks the 1-year anniversary of the Alden Sterling shooting.
Oh.
And they're
Lord.
supposed to, by Tuesday, they're supposed to have how they did the federal investigation into it. Apparently, the results of that investigation are coming out on Tuesday. So they're talking already about protests and shit.
Old CD, man.
Right. That old dishwasher me, man. I knew Alton long before he was the.
I used to live right down there, right over on the corner. Well, right around the corner from that corner.
I worked on the same road, just up the street from there.
Okay, I'm yawning on camera now, so I think it's time to call this a broadcast. Broadcast. Anyway, So, thanks for joining us this evening.
Sorry for being sketchy on my appearances.
Yeah,
I just wanted to apologize. Shit's been crappy, and I've just not been myself.
we're starting to get a little worried about how things are going, and you know, it's just at the point where, you know, we think we should be focusing on taking a step forward. You know, oh look, a step forward. Oh wait, first you got to go 2 steps back. See, it's not just the pet store. It's the building prototype. These buildings are going to save property, possibly save lives.
Not to mention, it's going to keep insurance costs down.
Oh, yes, save a lot of insurance money.
Like, for example, after the flooding here, everybody's talking about, oh, flood insurance isn't going to go up, flood insurance going to... Oh, it's the Trump rhetoric all over again. Oh, nothing's going to go up, you won't be paying more. And now all of a sudden people's bills are like doubling. Their insurance payments are doubling, tripling almost.
And nothing even happened yet. Nothing's happened, only the Trump administration has basically given license to everybody to be more dickish than usual.
Well, and I mean, it's just the way that the insurance cycle works. I mean, you got to think about it. Car insurance
Hands off.
Well, car insurance works the same way. You get into an accident, they have to pay out a bunch of money, and all of a sudden your insurance rates go up. Okay, so natural disaster happens, you've got flood insurance. Well, they just had to pay out a bunch of money because you're not the only person that flooded. You and you know, 1,000 other people flooded. So it stands to reason they've got to somehow make that money back. Now, granted, it's been, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of people paying into the insurance and not needing it, but all that's got to be paid in the salaries and overhead costs, you know. It's just, but it's bullshit, the amount. I mean, the amount that it's going up is ridiculous. And that's these buildings is going to be the solution to that. People aren't going to have to worry about, you know, wanting to retire on the coast and not being able to because you're worried about the first hurricane that's going to come and take your shit away.
Timeshare values. Beach houses, vacation homes,
camps.
You know, you worried about what if a hurricane comes? Well, you could sit there and laugh at it. Again,
thanks, Max.
This is the version that you're allowed to see. Anybody who underestimates me is just being ridiculous. And on that bombshell, it's time to end. Unless she has another question, she mustachio.
I mustachio question. But I'll shave it.
All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks for your questions and comments and your contributions and donations and pudding pops and whatnot. Y'all have a good one. Please click the like button. Please check your subscription. Make sure you are subscribed. And catch us tomorrow around 11-ish. Maybe AM, PM. Definitely one or the other. Got a lot of crap to take care of. But, hopefully, we'll have some kind of progress to report soon. Peace.
In my heart and baby down in my soul. You, baby, you can't take it no more. I'm going all